How are you?
Good, good.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I thought we was going to be,
If you know me already, I don't make excuses for anything. I
not
improvise
not
here.
even not
Not
even
even,
Milton, huh?
not even Milton. Milton ain't got nothing on me.
Oh, that's right.
That's
I was
right.
like,
At the end of the
so
day,
watching the news and stuff, I was like, well, Hal is not going to do this today, so
just take your happy self. Do what you need to do. Plan and be prepared. Like I said, I'm always ready, so I don't have to get ready. I say
oh
that
no,
all the
that's right.
time. That is always my mantra. Stay
Yes.
ready, so you
So
don't have to get ready.
that is so true. That is so true. So we are going to be talking today. Well, I guess we can do our introductions, right? Probably need to get into our little formula. Uh, let's do our little introductions. For those who don't know, my name is Monique Macklin. I'm also known as the Pink Power CEO, founder of The Credit Lady, where we work with people, and our main focus are people who average between $50,000 a year or more in income, who are looking to start their wealth building journey. So that is what I do on a daily and a continuous basis, helping people to make, manage, and multiply money.
All right, I'm the prophetic financier, Al Mills, and I help ordinary individuals create lifestyle compliant empires where they produce more income, more time and location freedom, and we do it the righteous way by helping you think better, bank better, and leverage better.
Yes, yes, indeed. So today's topic is called or entitled Money Traumas. All right. We've had this conversation plenty of times, right? And bringing it up. And a lot of times most of us don't know that a lot of our situations, our current money situations, stem from past money traumas, right?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Everything in life that we're doing today is a result of what happened yesterday. When I say yesterday, yesteryear, because we learn through life's experiences, because life is the best teacher, right?
Correct.
And so we kind of shape, form, and fashion the way that we behave based on past events. That's why we have
Yes.
something called a reticular activating system, where our
Okay.
brain is designed to keep us safe and familiar. And so any traumatic experience that we've had in the past, maybe be related to money, to relationships, to survival, we have a file in our brain that comes up whenever we feel duress or under attack, and we pull that file up to create a defense mechanism.
This is true. This is true. Or, I mean, a lot of it stems from it stems from our childhood in many instances, right? Our parents' relationship with money and or lack of, right, relationship with
Yeah,
money. So
yeah.
yeah.
For example, when we're born and we come into this earth, this vortex, I like to use the example of a baby like a champagne glass.
Okay.
And the champagne glass doesn't have a top on it, right? It's just it has a hollow top and a curvature base. And so
Right.
when you come into this vortex, you come into this vortex empty, other than your natural essence of being, your belief systems, you have no acknowledgement to that. That someone has to pour into you whatever it is that social that arrangement is. May it be socially, may it be parent wise or the like. Their views on life become your views. Even your name is given to you. So that's even a traumatic experience that you didn't even have the choice to choose your name.
This
You
is
may not think
true.
that's traumatic, but it is. I mean, someone else told you who you are. You don't have a first-hand knowledge of who you are. Someone told
Right.
you that's who you are. You don't know what day you were born. Someone told you the day that you were born,
Right.
right? And here's a point to that. You were carried in your mother's womb for 9 months, but then when you come out of the womb, you're 1 day old. Make that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
You went from 9 months to one day. See, that shows you right there that chronologically that document and that statement is not true, and for that you could be traumatized.
I mean, just coming through the birth canal is traumatizing. But
Well, the first time you get in contact with that doctor, what do they do? Slap you. So you
no,
was assaulted your first event coming in.
this is this is true. This is
I've
true.
been assaulted. Oh my goodness.
Hilarious. But some
We're just having
money,
fun. We're making fun of it in live
some money
event.
trauma quotes that we have often heard. I know one is never spend more than you earn. Um, Live below your means. Don't buy things you can't afford. Money doesn't grow on trees.
And yet, paper, FRNs is made out of paper, and paper comes from trees. So that makes sense.
Yep. Well, save early for retirement. Save for retirement early. So those are some. I don't know if you have any quotes that you could think of that people
Well,
have been saying.
there's some adages of I don't pick up money in the road. If you're from a Caribbean background, you'll hear that a lot. I don't pick up money in the road and stuff like that. Yeah, different ones like that. So,
So
but
yeah,
overall,
but those are
because of
things that we've heard all, especially you ask your parents. I remember asking my parents some things back in the day. Can I get that new Atari? Can I go get these shoes? Money don't grow on trees. Money, get a job. Those kind of things. So yeah, we or when the bill collectors come. So I always will tell the story of I didn't understand credit and money because I remember my dad saying if a bill collector called, he was like, "Oh, just tell him I'm not here." So I would say my relationship with money a lot of times would be when somebody called, my daddy said he ain't here.
now look at that for a
So
minute. So look at that. So you got conditioned that any time a bill was due,
was due.
you're not to be there. You're
Correct.
supposed to be absent. So there's a
Yes.
trauma. So
Yeah.
you begin subconsciously believe anytime you see a statement come every month in your adulthood, you're absent. You're not here.
Yeah, I'm not
You
present.
avoid it. You avoid the bill. You leave it in the envelope on the desk, on the table, on the kitchen table, wherever you keep your mail, and you don't deal with it until it's absolutely late. It's a late statement coming toward you where you're forced to react.
Yeah. And even I'm guilty of this, right? I won't check the mail for 2, 3 weeks because I'm like nothing in it but bills, right? So I won't check the mail. So a lot of people have gotten into that habit, especially if you have a mailbox is one of those community mailboxes, right, in your community where you have to meet down the block and catch your mail at this whole big box thing. But yeah, so that's another one. I'm like, there's nothing in the mailbox but bills, so I'll get it when I get it, kind of thing.
Right. And so you have these negative experiences as a child that caused trauma with money. Money was always related to lack, pain, and disgust and shame.
Yeah.
It's either your parents couldn't afford to buy you brand names, so you wore Woolworth, you wore jelly slippers, jelly sandals, and all those different things, and you would be teased by others. And so then that was a traumatic
Hold up,
experience.
hold up, hold up.
You wasn't wearing no Pro Keds. You was wearing them jellies.
Hold
They
up,
weren't Pro
no, no,
Keds.
no. I had Pro Kids and I had jellies because jellies was the style. Let's back
Okay.
up a little
That's the
bit.
last time I can remember those jellies was have your feet burning and melt on your damn feet. Right, okay. We're gonna go there.
Oh my goodness, like hold up. It was the Chinese slippers, right?
Oh yeah.
But
With the
yeah.
brown soles, walking around with brown sole slippers.
Yes, exactly. So, but yeah, money it's been a lot of bad money issues that people are dealing with today because they didn't learn how to deal with it in the past. Their parents probably didn't know how to deal with it either, right? Because I'm sure, how our parents would say a child is to be seen and not heard. So especially when it came to money issues, they didn't have those conversations with us, and I'm sure their parents didn't either. So it was just
And
passed down.
it's true. And you think about it, even in the business climate right now, that's why so many people are seeking LLCs because they're trying to avoid tax trauma, which is a money trauma, and they
Correct.
think that becoming self-employed, they can avoid taxes.
Correct. But they're actually putting themselves in harm's way of doing
Right.
it that
But
way.
the whole action was based on a trauma, trying not to be taxed out the wazoo, if you will. Because
Right.
working on a job, your silent partner is the three-letter men, and they take their portion before you come home with yours.
This
And
is
that's
so
a trauma.
true.
That's a trauma every time you get your check. I think you shared with me a story once that your daughter went to work for her first job, and she was disgruntled at what was left over taxes.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Like, who are these people?
See, and that was a trauma. Like, what in the world? I went to
Right.
work. This is all I made?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So,
A little very first check was $80. She said, "What am I supposed to do with $80?"
yeah, it
I
happened
said,
to
"I
my
don't
daughter
know, but
too.
Michael Jordan won't be getting them. Won't be
Yeah,
getting it."
my
But
daughter
yeah.
had the same experience. She was like, Dad, what is all this stuff they took out? It's called tax. Why can I opt out of that? Sure, there's a decision you have to make.
You owe them at the end, but yeah, you can get your money now and just pay for it later. That's all. But it's all a setup. That's why having the right business structure and things of that nature is very important. Because most people, like Al just said, are trying to go into business. They're getting LLCs, but they don't realize that when you get an LLC, you're actually further victimizing yourself than you were as an employee.
Yes, yes.
So,
But the trauma starts even in the beginning, right? If you think about it from a scriptural standpoint, Adam's punishment for disobedience was that he shall eat by the sweat of his brow.
correct.
And so there was a trauma there now for disobedience that every day moving forward, you had to toil to make a living. When prior to the disobedience, he had the power in his pure divineness to speak things into existence and things would be. Now he had to toil, meaning sweat and labor, to do it. So this is where the whole adage comes from. You have to work hard for your money.
Money, yeah.
And that was overly ingrained in the teachings for those who went to church. It was constantly taught that Adam has to eat by the sweat of his brow.
And it's
And
been
so
passed down.
been passed down as a custom, as a tradition,
Yeah.
not knowing that on like anything else, there's a polarity, right? That in the Abrahamic covenant, you can learn how to be prosperous
Right,
with obedience and faithfulness.
right.
And so it's interesting.
But people will, especially, people in the church and things of that nature. The church has taught us to look down on people who aspire to be wealthy, right? But that's not, God is not a God of lack. So why should we shouldn't be striving to be just comfortable or getting by. We should be striving to receive abundance, to be blessed, and to be a
Well, let's go
blessing to
back.
others.
So let's go back. So for the love of money is the root
The
of
root of all
evil.
evil, correct.
Now, in that context, what they were saying that created the trauma is that if you're willing to act out of any form of moral turpitude to gain what you think is money, it's going to lead you down a slippery slope.
Correct.
But I like to rephrase that where there's a lack of money is where the evil lies. So when people don't have resources, then you live in poverty. There's higher crime, prostitution, drug use.
Yes.
So when you think of it from that perspective,
People will do whatever they can
correct.
to get
And
money.
so that shows where the real evil lies,
Yeah.
right? Because evil is nothing more than the opposite of living or live.
This is true.
Live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Evil is evil. So when you're inverted, then that shows you the conditioning in your state of mind of where you are. And so I think what needs to happen, though, in essence, is that we need to redefine what money is. To eradicate that trauma, we need to get back to a place of what is money. Money is energy.
It is.
And most of the time, that energy, frequency, or vibration comes from your consciousness, which is your mind. Right?
Yeah.
And anything that you do with that to create, you get a unit of exchange back. So people don't realize the unit of exchange is what you get for circulating the energy, frequency, or vibration of your mind.
This is true.
It's not an external, intangible. It's not an external or tangible piece of paper, as most people may believe.
Right.
That's called currency, not money.
So it's pretty much what you attract is what you will receive.
That is correct.
right. And a lot of us have, well, I believe the lack of money is the root of all evil. But
That means lack of thought. That means lack of
yeah,
thought.
yeah,
Those who don't think
yeah.
and don't imagine.
Because you actually have the ability to create money each and every day. And
Unit of exchange.
here we go.
See, the condition is strong, right?
We have the ability to create units of exchange every day. And we've also been taught to grind, to hustle. If you don't work hard, if you're not working hard, then you're not doing it right.
Correct.
And that's like a lie from the pit of hell, right? So you don't have to grind hard every day. People are waking up at 4 in the morning, going to work at 5, and getting off at 10 o'clock at night. Like, I know people who do that. So that's a lot. That is a lot, and you are working.
That's trauma again.
That's
trauma on your emotional state and your physical state. Because how many years can you keep that activity
Yeah.
up based on that?
Yeah, that's a lot. And then you got to get up again at 4 and get there at 5. And if it's a lot, and your body is going to give out on you at some point. And I remember before I got into mortgages in 2006, I used to work at Jenny Craig, right? And I used to work at a company at the airport overnight. So, because I was a single mom and I was trying to, just make ends meet. And I said, I'm going to take this evening job and I'm going to do it until my body tells me I can't do it anymore.
Gotcha.
Right. But in that time, it was a lot, because I would get off at 7 in the morning and had to be at Jenny Craig like 9:30 or something like that. But I still had to get my daughter to school and all those things in between. So right at the time, my body was starting to give out, because I kept saying, Lord, I'm just going to keep doing this until I can't do it anymore. But just about that time is when I got the call for the job as to being a loan officer. And I was fighting him tooth and nail. I told you that part before. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But my brother is the one who convinced me to get out of my own way and take the job, because they were actually giving me a salary to do the job. And we all know, as a loan officer, most people don't do that, right?
That's commissionable based most of the time.
Yeah, it's mostly commission based, and that's like a dirty word. And when people are looking for a job, it's like, no, I need to know what I'm getting so I can pay these bills. But me making the decision to take the loan officer job is what actually changed the financial trajectory of my life. To actually step out on faith and actually do it. Because after that, that's when things started turning around for me. But I fought the manager on just taking the interview, going in for the interview. I'm like, no, I ain't going to do that. But again, I just said, you know what? Just walk out on faith, take the job and do it. And that has now allowed me to be moving forward, have my own business and all of these other things, because we know 2008 was a financial collapse. But I was able to rebound from that as well. So that I'm telling you these stories because I have faced a lot of financial trauma, including being a single mom. So there was trauma after trauma after trauma. So when the money started coming in, I didn't know how to handle it. Right. So it's nothing like being able to go into the store and not have to ask how much it costs.
Oh, that's a blessing of a feeling. Let me tell you, I enjoy that feeling. But I agree with you as well on that trauma. The biggest financial trauma that I suffered was being an entrepreneur, being a business owner.
Right.
Having a staff of about, at that time, 17. My operating expenditures were over $40,000 a month. And it was in the month of November. I think I've told you this story before. And it was Tuesday. It was a few days before Thanksgiving, and in my business operating account, I only had $4,000, and I had to make and I was short $36,000.
Wow!
With 2 days to go, I had to give people their salaries actually Wednesday, so that they were off on the Thursday, and I didn't have the money.
Right.
And I felt so dejected that these people gave me their time and their energy and entrusted in me as a leader. to live up to my end of the bargain because they came and they did what they were supposed to do.
Right.
And no one can ever imagine the amount of stress and trauma having to prepare yourself for letting a staff that was loyal to you know that you cannot pay them. And I was at a crossroad. It was very pivotal. I had to really come back. Thankfully that I had a very strong spiritual foundation. I had to go back and think about the promises of the Most High in my life and remember who I was and the power that I had. And I reminded the Most High of the promises that were made and the covenants that I had. And I said, he said that you would never leave me nor forsake me, right? And that you would never put those who trust you would never be put to shame. I says, I cannot be put to shame. Didn't know where this money was coming from. I'm using the word money for lack of a better word in this case. Did not know where this exchange was coming from. But I know I had a lot of investments that were outside that had not come to fruition yet, or that was owed to me. And so, believe it or not, the next day, that Wednesday, I got a call from my receptionist at the back on the intercom that someone was there to see me. And I said, send them back. And when they came back, it was someone that I had lent $100,000 to 24 months ago.
Oh, wow.
In a private loan. And they were supposed to have settled that loan in 6 months. But look how much longer, 18 months later, he came to give me the 100K plus 25,000 additional.
Wow.
On the day before, on
you
the
needed
day I had
well,
to
the day
make
you
payroll.
needed it. Yeah. The day
And
you
now,
needed it.
those of you who don't know, when you go and get a check, it was a certified check. When you take it to your bank, most of the time they put a hold on that check.
This is true.
This was in the early 2000s. And I'm just trusting. And they cleared the entire check on
Wow.
deposit. I was able to then make payroll.
See, look at God.
Look at God, right? So what I'm saying to say is that I had the trauma
Yeah.
and I was doing the work, but sometimes things just don't work out.
This is true.
But I had to, before I could react, I had to prepare myself on how to respond. And so in that story, the moral to the story was I had to get back to where my true source of all of my sustenance came from.
This is true.
And I went within before going without. And in doing that, I released frequency that went out into the ethers, and the Most High met me at my crossroad. And so the moral to this story for anyone here who may be having financial trauma, we talked about this yesterday on the previous call, and every call that we do, I'm assuming, is going to be a building block from the previous conversation. When you begin to tap in and learn the true principles of abundance, prosperity, when you're in doubt, you have somewhere to return and apply the formula.
This is true.
And you will be amazed at how fast the results happen. Because I may have said on several calls ago, your thoughts travel at the speed of light, which is 165,000 miles per nanosecond. So that thought emanated around the world, the globe, 9.5 times. And so in me thinking and affirming the promises of God, I tapped into that divine principle, right?
Right.
And so I called that 125,000 to come to me.
This is true.
I didn't sit down in dismay and become a victim. I had to stand in my victory in the midst of my storm.
Yeah.
And so for those of you who may be listening, that may be the most powerful thing that you can ever do if you're in alignment with those principles.
And that's what we talked about yesterday as far as learning to activate those principles in our lives as well. That's part of the process of reaping what you sow.
Yeah, correct.
So yeah, it's just like, but that's a powerful, very powerful testimony. And as they always say, he may not come when we want him, but he's always on time. So I've never, it's like anytime I've ever worried about something, especially paying something or money or something, it always seems to show up when I need it and what I need. So I had to learn, even especially when I was raising my daughter, I was like, it was at Matthew 6:34, I think it is, right? Do
Right.
not worry.
Mm-hmm.
I would rely on that scripture a lot. And it actually would comfort me a lot, especially, like I said, raising my daughter and just wanting to make sure that she was okay, because it's like, I'll figure this out, but after I had her, the realization of I got to keep this person alive every day.
You are responsible for another person.
Yes, I said people don't realize that. Like, this is an actual human being. You have to keep this.
Your pause, I think she put.
And fed every day.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah, that was somebody trying to call me.
I've learned to put that on airplane
No,
mode nowadays.
I see. I'm like, Lord have mercy. But yeah, it was just learning how to just maneuver. But for me, I had to learn that whole process of just tapping into, like you said, the Most High and trying to just work, like, let Him guide me through, as opposed to me trying to do it on my own all the time.
Because it's electric. It's electric. Everything is energy. It's electric. Mm-hmm. We got to understand that it's electrical wars going on.
Yeah. But it's a lot of people who are sitting here like, well, I understand what you're saying, but, I got to pay this tax bill. We got to eat.
So we want to get to have, but don't never learn how to be able to have. Mm-hmm. We want to get straight to the result.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
And that's what toiling is about, right? I'm going to give up my time, my physical labor, my time and my energy to get a check. But even when you get a check, you don't get it that day. You got to wait 7 days to get it, 5 days to get it.
2 weeks.
In some cases. So
sometimes a month.
So it's not even instantaneous when you have a job.
Mm-hmm. So people are always trying to figure out, or when you try to introduce them to opportunities that can help them make money, they're trying to figure out ways on why they shouldn't take heed to the opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. But you're telling me, I tell you, people reach out to me all the time. And that's the reason I had put together that whole Partner with a Purpose program, is because people kept coming to me saying, I need to make extra money. I need more money. I need more ways to, another way to pay my bill, but I don't have the time to do another job. I don't want to take time away from my children. I don't have anybody to watch my children. Is there anything else that you can do? So that's what made me put that together a couple of years ago, on how to help people just make more money, how to just, create, get into that whole mold, that mindset of just, if you help more people, let me show you how to help people in this process, and the money is just it will come.
That's why I coined that phrase, they're looking for a cash flow advisor.
Yeah.
That's what it comes back down to, the flow. Everyone thinks that you need to make more. Until you can become a good steward and show yourself or prove that you can manage the little, small amounts, you cannot walk into an abundance to manage more.
This is true.
If you can't manage 30K, you can't manage 100K, because it's more responsibility.
You cannot. If God has blessed you with a job at $75,000 a year, and you have absolutely nothing to show for it but some Jordans and, some cable bills or whatever, then you have to figure out, what am I doing wrong? You might be able to take your kids or yourself on a trip once a year, but in many instances, you probably can't even do that right now, because $75,000 is not a lot of money. Let's just put that out there. So it depends on where you are, because some people have said that to me. If you live in a rural area and this, that, and the other, but groceries are getting high everywhere. Gas is getting high everywhere. So
that is true. That is very true.
And most households cannot sustain off of one income. And a lot of combined household incomes are around that, right? 75,000 combined.
Yeah, that is correct.
That's not a lot of money. And
that's gross. That's before taxation.
That's before taxes. So I understand when people say that they don't have enough. So that's why, let me help you put something in place to help you have more than enough.
Right.
That's the goal. That's where we come in and we try to help you gain access to assets regardless of your credit so that you can start having cash flow in multiple places. The goal is to have ownership in multiple places, businesses, real estate, etc. And that's where Al and I come in, and we're having these conversations for that mere reason. We're not just he and I talk about this all the time, but I kept thinking a lot of you all out there who listen to this on a replay need to hear this as well, because these are conversations that were not had in your home. They're not had amongst your friends. You might catch a YouTube or a clip on Instagram or TikTok every once in a while, but you're not making application in your life. So our role here is to show you how to actually apply principles, knowledge, and just teachings to your life so that you can get it. And now you can also teach your children and pass it on down so that they don't be in the same situation you're in now.
That's the whole idea, is to learn skills that you can transfer to the next generation.
Yeah, it's not about
inheritable,
us.
that are inheritable, right? We learn skills that are one-off, that we have to keep repeating the process over and over again. The key to prosperity is monthly recurring revenue over a longer period of time. You can't keep doing one-to-one. I give 10 hours to get one form of compensation. I do another 10 hours to get another compensation. You have to learn how to do something once and be compensated continually over a period of time. And there are certain asset classes and certain methodologies that only the elite get access to, and those who had access to the elite, and then they effectuate that. Now, the truth of the matter is, and this is probably the question, why doesn't the world show it? Because in the marketplace, there's something called market share. And if everyone knew the proprietary or corporate secrets or trade secrets of another company, then you can unset the balance. So there must always be balance, right? Even in the Holy Scriptures, it says that there will always be poor amongst us. That means not everyone is going to be wealthy in terms of accumulation of things. They may be wealthy in life and spirit, but they're not going to have a certain product of showing that. So there's going to always be laborers, and there's going to be people who provide opportunities for laborers.
This is true.
And really, the laborers made a decision not to want to learn those other principles, and that's quite all right. I put a post the other day that I coach the masses, but I only mentor a few, because mentorship is a life journey. A coach will teach you a specific skill.
Correct.
And that's it. But a mentor works with you in honing those skills, multiple skills, and taking that journey with you on a lifelong journey, as opposed to a one-off.
You're locking arms with someone,
and most of the time you partner with your mentor, because that's the trade. That's the trade-off for a mentor wanting to exchange their time, energy, and experience into someone else, because people never compensate you for what you're worth.
No.
So there has to be another factor to be determined.
And now that you said your worth, I know a lot of people don't recognize their worth, or some people. I will tell people, don't let somebody question your worth, right? Because years ago, when I was charging whatever I was charging, but some people would say that's expensive or that's too much, and then I would look at what other people in different classes or whatever they were earning for doing the same thing, and then it dawned on me is that you can't tell people what they're worth. If I feel I'm worth $5,000 an hour, I'm worth $5,000 an hour. And somebody is willing to pay that. Somebody will be willing to pay that. It might not be you, but somebody is going to see the worth in that. And it allows me, where you're charging $300 or $500 an hour, you may get, 10 clients, right? So you just made your 5,000, but you had to speak to 10 people, where I am speaking to one person and making the same $5,000, right? So you're spending more time making the same amount of money. So you have to, in certain things, you have to start understanding and respecting your worth. It's okay to say, I'm not changing my price for you. That's not
Well,
how this
let's go. Let
works.
me give you an example to that. So let's use a bottle of water, right? So let's say a bottle of water.
Yes.
You at Walmart, you can get a bottle of water for, let's just use $1, just to
Yeah.
keep it simple.
Yeah.
Then you go to the movie theater, that same bottle of water is $5,
$5.
right? And then that same bottle of water at a high-end restaurant is $8 to $10.
Correct.
It's the same bottle of
It's the
water.
same bottle of water.
But based on your perception and where you are in the value ladder, a person's willing to pay more. So I always say this. If you want to tap into infinite intelligence that comes from the Supreme, that'll put you in a position to earn, to have more time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom, what's the value in that? As
Exactly.
opposed to someone teaching you a quick side hustle that you have to, it's just a trend. It's going to be hot today and going tomorrow.
And they're never going to give you all the gems.
In case of point, is Toro a viable business? It was hot when it first started, right?
Yeah.
What happened to Toro now?
Nobody talks. People still use it, but they're not talking about it like they were, especially during the pandemic or Airbnbs.
Airbnbs, because most of the major cities are kicking back. The
Yep.
hotel industry is going to fight because they're a multi-billion-dollar industry,
Yeah.
and they're not going to make it happen. So what's happening now? What was a trend before Airbnb? Everybody wanted to buy a house and put an Airbnb in it or do Airbnb arbitrages. Now what's happening? They're now going into co-living spaces where you're getting a property that's a 3-bedroom turned into a 6-bedroom and rent rooms
Correct.
to make more revenue. So you see,
They had to
those
pivot.
they had to pivot, but most people market those on fads. But now put it back on our side of the world. We already knew that the economy of scale is owning apartment buildings or, row houses and provide housing to the masses. It's boring, but it's not a fad.
Right. And
It's a need in society.
Right. People need places to live, and boring makes more money than fads.
Like I get a lot of flack from this one, right? I've been saying it a lot lately. If I had to buy a home today, I would not buy a home today. I would not own a personal home.
Right.
Why, TPA? Why they say, well, why would you do that? That's crazy. You get home ownership. I says because the lifestyle that I would prefer to live, let's say it's a $3 million to $5 million house, mansion, if you will. That's going to require me on $5 million to put down at least 20% minimum. That's $1 million. Plus another 3% to 6% in closing costs. That's another $350,000. So 1,350,000 would be my out of pocket that I need to have that experience to live in that type of lifestyle.
Correct.
What I know now, and the intelligence I've learned, is I could rent that same $5 million. I can lease that luxury for $30,000 a month.
Correct. And keep the rest of it, right?
So $30,000 a month, I'm spending over $360,000 a year.
A year.
Versus me putting out $1.3 million.
Right. The closing costs.
The difference in the money, I have about a little shy of $1 million. I can then take that $1 million and buy an asset or buy income that pays for the lifestyle.
Correct. That
But
covers
everyone's
that
been-
$360 a year.
Correct. And I still have the lifestyle
Yeah.
and I still have the asset that's producing money. Why is that beneficial? Because that asset is producing income for me that I don't have to show up.
Correct.
It's passive income and it's supporting my lifestyle. But see, other people believe that they need to get on the grind, be on the gram, be in front of people, dancing Harry, work 2-3 side jobs to pay for that $5 million house. I don't turn myself into a slave.
Not Dancing Harry, but
Yeah, dancing Harry at the Garden. They used to have those dance shows at Madison Square
yes,
Garden.
yes.
So okay, or the elephant on the unicycle juggling two
Mm.
plates on a stick and a ball on their nose,
All
I
right,
mean on their
you
head.
become a sideshow
Become a
for the
sideshow that you
gram.
let me entertain you. That kind of mentality.
And just so you know, I keep telling people to follow Al so he can get up to 1,000 followers so he can come on camera. The truth of the matter is that we don't really have a need or a desire to even have to be on camera because we believe that faith comes through hearing. A lot of people have for many, many years listened to the radio, and the radio is and still are listening to the radio. And they don't see these people unless they decide to go to their little podcast pages or something like that. But we don't need to literally see you to get the message. So our focus is that you focus on what the information we are providing to you, so that it gets into your spirit, it gets into your mindset, so that you can start. We're not here to be I don't want to put on makeup every day or do all that. I don't have to do all of
We're
that.
not here to
We're
entertain
not
you.
here to entertain you. We're here to empower you, to enlighten, empower, and edify. That's my tagline.
There you
But
go.
to enlighten you, to empower you, and to edify you to the next level of financial success. That's my real tagline for my main business.
I love it. And I come in with the combination and help you think, bank, and leverage better. So add
Exactly.
that all together, you got a winning combination because you're in proximity. That's why
Yeah.
we collaborate. We don't compete. We
No.
collaborate.
Exactly. Collaboration is better than competition.
That's group economics.
It is. Our goal is to reach and have we have these conversations amongst ourselves and amongst the community, the community that Al has. So we have these conversations all the time, but so many of you who will hear this later on have never heard these conversations. I'm sure you've never heard the term money trauma before in your life, but most of you are living through money trauma. Every time something gets shut off, that's money trauma. Every time the bank calls and says we're going to repo this or foreclose on that, that's money trauma. When your credit card gets shut off, that's money trauma.
Or decline at the
Or
register.
declined,
Oof.
that's money
Yeah.
trauma. Or you get, what is that, NSF fee at the bank because you don't have enough money.
Overdraft fees.
Fees. Banks, I was watching 20 years ago. They said banks have over 500 miscellaneous fees people don't know about.
That's how they make their money.
That's how they make their money. Like if I don't have the $100, why are you charging me an extra $35?
Now, just imagine this. You bounce the check or you charge something for 100.
Right.
They charge you 35. Now, just to let you guys know, I speak finance fluently, right? So that's 35%
Yeah.
fee
Fee.
for one time on 100. 35% on $100.
I didn't have it. I didn't have it the first time.
But when they give you interest, it's 0.001%.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, we got to wake up. We have to wake up and win. Like you said, we got to wake up and win.
We do. That's crazy. That's all a part of money trauma. I don't have enough money I don't know how I'm gonna feed my children. Money trauma. I just came out of being homeless.
Money trauma.
Money trauma. Right? So the what's that thing on the car you're driving and that little red light appears in your car.
Check engine light.
Money
Trauma.
trauma. Driving down the road, you hear some crazy sound. You're like, I'm just going to turn the radio up because I ain't hearing you right now. Because that's going to be more money. Money trauma.
Right.
So we're trying to help
Exactly.
people eradicate that as much as we possibly can. How do I get from, because it's as we all know, shit gonna happen. It always happens. So you have to be prepared just in case, because something is always going to pop up. No, if you own a house, something, if it's brand new, trust and believe, it's something still going to happen. So if you have a new car, something, when that warranty run out, something going to happen. So you have to be prepared. Or if you have an accident, somebody has a car accident and you got $1,000 deductible, $500 deductible, and you don't have $500, because most people don't have $500 sitting around.
Well, think about this, right? And this is the mantra I'm teaching and that we're trying to get out to the world. You buy cash flow and you lease luxury
Correct.
because you own nothing to begin with, right?
Exactly.
So if you continuously buy cash flow, which is acquire assets, that can be inheritable.
Yeah. Something you could pass down
But the luxury items depreciate.
instantly. Like
That makes sense.
What's that
This is
car I
making
want?
sense.
What's that Mercedes I want? It's $143,000, brand new. If I get the one that's the current year or the year, what's that? What, the 2023 or 2022 is like $50,000-$60,000 less. Like, do I really need to buy something at 143,000, or can I
Now
get it
watch
for
this.
70?
So 143,000, right? To lease that luxury, you may have to put down 5,000 on a lease, and even then you can negotiate. I know how to teach you how to do that, right? But let's just say, but your payment will be about 2,500 a month. So that's what per year? It's about what, about 30,000
About
a year?
30,000 a year.
All right, 30,000 a year. So you got about 100K left over.
True.
You go and you're able to buy an asset that's producing. Now that's a 10% or 20% down payment for an asset.
Correct.
Let's say that controls $1 million asset, that 100,000, and that $1 million asset is producing a 10 cap, a 10% yield. Keep it at that. I mean, it's generating $100,000 a year in passive income.
Right.
Out of 100,000, you pay the $30,000 for the lease to luxury. You're driving a luxury, and you still got 70K in your pocket.
Correct.
This is the proper way to do things.
So what he just said is, you get the assets that will then generate the cash flow, and then you get the luxuries in life that you desire to have with the cash flow. It's not saying constantly go to work and go to work and go to work.
Buy luxury.
To buy luxury. That's
Not
working
making any
backwards.
sense.
It's operating
Hustling
backwards.
backwards.
Hustling
Yeah,
backwards.
hustling backwards.
So you don't want to keep going, because if you're trading your time, if I was working a job and I had a $2,500 car note, it would never happen. But if I had a job and it was a $2,500 car note and I had to get up every day to make sure that car note was paid, that's a lot to deal with, because the moment you don't pay it, they're coming to take it. They are coming to take it. So I have to figure out a way to turn that vehicle that I want, as I'll always say, that just takes you from one door to the next. I have to figure out how I want to have this luxury vehicle without having to pay for it with my time. That's the ultimate goal. How do I get what I want out of life without having to pay for it with my time? If I want to live in $1 million house, how do I get that $1 million house without having to trade my time for dollars to get it? I want to figure out a way to do it one time and then allow it to just produce cash flow for me over and over and over again. That's the ultimate flex right there.
That's the ultimate flex. I mean, there's other ways too. Now, if you want to own that luxury, there's a way that can be done as well. It's called customer finance. Then you have to provide a service or an experience. I didn't say a product, a service and an experience that solves a major problem for someone else who's willing to compensate you for solving that problem, and they're going to pay you over time.
Correct.
So
Right. We don't want to get lump sum money, right? We don't want to.
See, because that law, Parkinson's law is real.
Yeah.
Expenses will always rise to meet income. So when you get that lump sum of money, all kind of situations are going to come up that's going to allow you to go into touching that lump sum of money and deplete it, and now you're back to square zero.
Square at zero. As opposed to people paying you monthly over time, they're going to keep paying for that experience to have access to you.
Yeah. What did Granny say? So long as somebody owe you, you'll never go broke.
Exactly. But you have to look at it also like utility companies, right? We signed up for T-Mobile or AT&T one time, and we are going to make sure our cell phone stay on. So they have a lot of customers who signed up just one time, and they constantly keep making sure those bills stay paid so that they can have communication with other people. They solve the problem. People want to communicate with one another. So that's how when you want to have heat and hot water, or light and gas. You sign up one time, and guess what? Your lights will come on every time you hit the switch, as long as you pay your bill. So
Everything. Gym
everything,
memberships,
gym
Planet
membership.
Fitness, whatever. All the
Yeah,
LA Fitness, no matter what club you belong to. Membership fee, monthly subscription dues,
yeah. That's it.
and
That's it.
everything that we do.
That's the way. That's how. That's the
Costco's,
key.
BJ's, Sam's
So,
Club.
exactly. Everything is a membership right now. Everything. And
Monthly recurring.
monthly recurring revenue, MRR. So yeah, that's one of the things. These are some of the conversations, like I said, we have all the time. But this conversation was really generated because we know, coming from, we both come from Brooklyn. Well, he come from the Caribbean, then by way of Brooklyn, but we have seen these images play out over and over again. Living in Maryland, we see these images. You drive down the street in any neighborhood, you cross over a certain road, you see poverty instantly. And it, whenever I go home, when I go like to the Bronx or something, it just tears my heart up. And when I was living there, it didn't bother me. It bothered me, but it didn't bother me as much as it does now, to see how they have packed people on top of each other in these different boroughs in New York,
Absolutely.
and it was strategically designed to be this way. They packed us up in those buildings in that manner strategically,
Yes.
and to keep us down. And if let's say if you're on a system like on social services or whatever, they don't allow you to make over a certain amount of money. So if you try to better yourself, they're going to penalize you by shutting you off.
Yep, that is true. That is very true. I want to make a correction. I'm a hybrid, Caribbean via Harlem, Brooklyn, baby. I got the best of both worlds. Money
See?
making, Brooklyn taking.
Brooklyn taking.
I'm a hybrid. That's why I do well.
No, goodness. What is Queens? 'Cause I went to
Quiet Queens.
Yeah, I moved to Queens later on.
Crickets.
Now that's where the LLs and them come from, so whatever. But so yeah, we it's New York. I'm referencing New York, but even just being in Maryland at this time, it's still the same thing. I know you're in Florida, right? So you see things as well. You live in a certain community, but it only takes a little bit to get into an area, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, that
And
happens very quickly. Yeah, that can
yeah,
happen very quickly. But now, I'm elevated to the next level. I live internationally. I'll be where I need to be. Just imagine that life. So when I talk about location freedom, is that we don't have to go to a specific location to earn our income
no, we
to
don't.
earn and to get cash flow. I can be remotely anywhere in the world, and I'm becoming more unattached to material things, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to see the world. I'm traveling the world and having a worldly perspective, because the world is my oyster. And I had dominion over the earth, so I might as well start dominating and going around and doing business multinational,
This is true.
as opposed to people are just, there are people who've never left their particular area.
I know,
I've met clients,
especially in New
clients and
York.
friends from Bmore that's never left Maryland, and in
Yeah.
particularly Baltimore County.
Yeah, yeah, I know people like that too. Most of mine are from in New York, but they they like, well, why would I leave here? What am I supposed to do if I leave here? And I'm like, experience something. And then when you see them actually take a cruise or something, and how excited and exuberant their images are, what they're sharing and stuff, because they've never touched the sand outside of Coney Island. so
Coney
so
Island is the Caribbean beach. That's dirty sand.
right. And in Maryland, what they go here, they go to what
The
is that?
harbor.
The harbor, and it's another place they go to the beach out here. I've never been. I'm not a beach person, but they are afraid to leave their environment. And what are you afraid of? When you expand your horizons, you just never know, what can actually take place, how it's going to change and alter your life. it's you have to be able to just be bold. Like when I left New York, I just left. I was, I packed my daughter up, figured it out. But me and my child in a U-Haul and some sort of Mazda or whatever I was driving at the time, and we just hightailed it on down here to Maryland, and
Jumped
she
on
was 10.
I-95 and was out.
And we were out. It was it.
That's
I
right.
swear.
I gotcha.
Because for me, I didn't want to raise my daughter in New York. That was my why. So people always say, "What is your why?" My daughter has always been my why. So what is motivating you? I have 3 granddaughters now. They are my why, because I want to see them not have to go through what people have had to go through in the past. So I'll be the sacrificial lamb if I have to.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You said something earlier that was very profound. I just want to kind of revisit that. It is true. Faith comes by hearing, right?
It does.
But for those of you who don't understand the metaphysics behind that is, for faith is a substance. So hearing requires substance.
It does.
And so the information that we are disseminating is substance. So for those of you who are hearing us, you're getting substance. And if you're getting substance, you're operating in faith. For faith is the substance of things hoped for. So we're showing you how your desired reality can become your actual reality. So
True.
faith is the substance of things hoped for, with the evidence of things not being seen. So those who need to be entertained and see visual effects are not in faith.
No.
This is why you can be tricked by the charlatans showing you wads of money, rented Lambos and yachts and Airbnbs as their mansions, to get you to come into that vortex or that matrix where you went to the land of Oz.
Exactly.
Okay? And you thought you were following the yellow brick road, but you really just end up in Emerald City in Oz,
Some character behind the curtain.
pursuing FRNs, which is fake.
That's so true.
I just gave you the ideology behind Alice in Wonderland.
The Wizard of Oz?
That is correct. Emerald City.
You said Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, Alice in Wonderland had
never
the
watched
Tin
that.
Man, had the Tin Man, the lion that didn't have a heart, the Tin Man who didn't have a brain.
That was the Wizard
And
of
they were
Oz.
Oh, I was supposed to say Wizard of Oz. My bad. I was thinking Alice in Wonderland. That's the other part. That's another narrative. My bad. You're right.
I'm sitting here like, I watched the Wizard of Oz a million
It's
times.
like, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Duh. But you know my point.
I know what you're getting at, but yeah, but yeah, he's 1,000,000% right. You
If I
have to
only
be.
had a brain.
I think about that all the time when it comes to faith. Had I not taken that leap of faith to leave Queens at the time, Brooklyn, Queens, to drive my daughter out of that and move her away from that to give her a better existence, now she has created a whole life and gave me grandchildren, has a husband, has her own home, work, a very professional career that she's in. And they've built his life. I don't know what her life would have been like if she stayed in New York. Doesn't mean that it would have been any different, but I don't know, because
But
all I
you had
knew.
the faith of substance hope for.
Exactly.
So your hope had to have an anchor to what your desired reality was going to be.
Exactly.
So I'm just breaking this down. Maybe your pastors or your imams never broke this down to you, or your rabbis, but that's the whole connotation of what faith is.
It is. It is. When you're hoping and wanting and desiring for a better life, sometimes you have to take action. And one of the things I pride myself on not being much of is a procrastinator, because I understand that procrastination is the thief of time. Anything that I have been trying it or wanting to do, and I don't try, either I do or I don't do. So it's not about trying to do. And I'll tell you, anytime he comes up or tells me something, I'll have a website up in 5 minutes on it. So
And my favorite reply is, Another one
and another one.
and another one.
Because that just sounded really good. Let me go ahead and get a website together. We got this. Let me get Roan on that.
I'd
But
be like, ooh, wait. I'm like, my goodness.
so
Gee.
I don't play. Let's get it. I like that. Let's get her done. So, and that's just how I have always been, especially when I can see the big picture. It's like I love to see dilapidated houses turn into masterpieces because,
Nice. Yes, yes.
you know, because I can actually see what it will actually be in the end.
In the finished product, yeah. Definitely.
Yes. So it's like it's not trash. It's not trash. We can turn this. This can actually be something, kind of thing. So, and a lot of people have discarded us as, in the past or from our past or whatever. Like, oh, that person will never be something. They always got a dream and an idea. Sometimes you have to shut out the noise and follow your heart and just say, you know what, whatever it's going to take is good. I'm going to do. And that's what you have to do. If I have to sacrifice, and as much as I don't like oodles and noodles too much, if I have to eat oodles and noodles, then that's what it's going to be for the next 90 days until I figure this out. That's because I can't afford to eat the salmon and everything else right now. I got to sacrifice and eat peanut butter and jelly and oodles and noodles. It just...
Listen, like Sister Yapa said, seeing the whole is holy. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. You have to see the full picture. You have to envision, you have to place yourself in that. Sometimes I will say, I'm like, I want this, a certain lifestyle I want a place I want to live. He's like, go look at it. Go drive it. Go do it. Because when you can touch it, that will motivate you to go after getting it. So,
imagination,
yeah.
right? The image of your nation. You have to see
You got to see
the
yourself
holiness in it.
Yeah.
The wholeness in it. There you go.
Exactly. So these are just conversations. Yes, we are talking about money traumas, but we're also talking about ways that we have overcome money traumas. And it doesn't mean that they won't creep back up on you, because they will, right? Because life be lifing sometimes. But when you get the formula, or you get some remedies on how to counteract those things, you won't let life keep beating you down. Because some people will allow life to keep attacking them and they won't fight back.
Right. That is true.
You have
That
to
is
be
true.
willing to fight back.
You're more than a conqueror.
Yeah. You ain't going, I ain't taking this. This ain't, no, God said, I'm going, you said too, when you went over the Lord's Prayer, and it says that God wants us to have heaven on earth. We don't have to die in order to experience heaven. We can have it here and right now. We just have to be willing to position ourselves for it. It's not going to happen instantaneously. This is not a microwave meal that you're throwing in the microwave. This is a life that you're building.
Correct.
And
Now, a minute, a second, an hour, a day can be a nanosecond in the realm of a God, right?
This is true.
And we already know that our thoughts travel 165 million miles per nanosecond. So it can happen instantaneously, but it requires focus and intensity. So you can't be double-minded. You can't be thinking about a lot of things. Everybody who's out here thinking they can multitask, there's no such thing.
No.
You focus on one thing at a time, but you just conclude it very quickly that think that you're doing multiple things at any given time. And to prove that point, and I know we got to wrap up soon, is the fact
about
that
15.
ask your left eyeball to look left and your right eyeball to look right. Can't do it. That's why it's called bifocal. And so you can't even look in two different directions at one time.
No.
Ask your left foot and your right foot to step at the same time. It cannot. You'll be hopping. You would not be walking.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm just showing you that we've been taught multitask, no, focus, follow one course until successful. Make one transmission and keep it long and intensified so that you can gravitate it back to you
I agree.
in time, in a period of time. And so I'm off my soapbox on that.
But no, that's exactly it right there, because we have to be willing to focus on those things that we want. Yes, we have jobs, we have children, we have lives, but there is 24 hours in every day. If you have to make the sacrifice to say, I'm going to prepare things early in the day, and that way get up, a little bit of time early to maybe do your prayers, get your children things together, get yourself together, so that when you come home, you can say, I'm gonna spend 2 or 3 hours doing this. Then that's something that you need to do, because if you had to go work a part-time job at Macy's, you get off at 5, you'd be running to get the Macy's at 6, right?
That is correct.
So put that same energy into something that you would love to do that would be more beneficial, require a whole lot less time, and would be able to help change lives for the better. Like, yeah, shopping is fun at Macy's, right? But we want to put you in a position where you're not having to be up at night. I mean, I saw this lady during Christmas time years ago, and it hurt my heart because that lady was so tired. And she was an elderly woman. And I said, this lady does not want to be here, right? So, and I know she had to be all maybe in her mid 60s, early 70s. This
Correct.
woman, nobody wants, and it was like 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Correct.
So that hurt my heart, but it also was a reminder of we have to get our financial life in order, because if not, that's going to be the reality for a lot of us if these stores even have jobs, because most of these companies are closing doors, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So unless we want to drive DoorDash at 11, 12 o'clock at night or something like that, I'm not a good night driver, so that's not going to work for me. So I need to be somewhere by 9 o'clock. So that's not going to work for me. But I say all that to say is that you have to prepare, because we don't live forever. We age. We're not young forever. And each and every day we are aging and we're losing time. We're not gaining time. The one thing we'll never get back is yesterday. So we have to start positioning ourselves to have a life of maybe of comfortability in our latter years. We do the work now so that when we are ready to retire, we can relax and be comfortable, enjoy our grandchildren, enjoy our children or whoever, and just travel or what and do whatever we want to do. But
Absolutely.
if you have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning at 77 years old, like one man I told y'all about on another live we did, he's 77, got to get up at 4 to go to work at 5:30 or something like that. Nobody wants to do that at 77.
Wow.
So yeah,
He followed the plan. He's been on that 40-40-40 plan.
yeah, and that kind of thing hurts my soul, because I know that if they knew better, they would do better. But again, sometimes people keep thinking that this is what my mom and daddy did and this is what I'm going to do. Life ain't like it used to be. People, the baby boomers, they probably had it the best, right? In that workforce field.
What was that song they used to sing? I work hard for my money. That artist was singing that song.
Right. But they're the ones, baby boomers are the ones who really benefited from that. When you think about that 40-40 plan, because they were able to get the houses at $10,000 and $20,000. Houses don't cost that anymore unless you got to fix it up.
That was the Industrial Revolution, for those who don't know. There were several revolutions, right? There was the Agricultural Revolution, then it went to the Manufacturing Revolution, then the Industrial Revolution, then the Informational Age, and now we're in the Technology Age.
Yes.
And so he's still operating on the Industrial Revolutionary Age when Babylon was being built, if you will.
Yeah. And so it's not the same.
That's where you could go to work, get a job, work 30 years, get a gold-plated watch and a great pension and live life well.
Yep.
That doesn't happen anymore.
That's not happening now. And if you, 6 figures used to be the goal back then. 7 figures is the goal right now, to be honest with you. That's the real goal. I don't know who's still fighting for that 6 figures, but that's the real goal is to get to 7 figures, because 6 figures in some instances, no matter, I saw a lady did somebody's income. They lived in California, and I think they did $250,000 combined. At the end of their expenses of what she went over, I think they had less than $1,000 left.
Whew.
So, and that's on that was about $250,000 combined in California. California is expensive, let's say, but $250 It
So
was
here's my
less than
question,
it
right?
was less than $1,000,
If a
honestly. It was like
person,
500.
if a person knew how to get location freedom, then that's not attached to their income, then
Mm-hmm.
they could live anywhere they'd like to on this globe.
Yep.
That their dollars could go further
Yep.
than having to thug it out in California.
Yeah.
There are nice houses everywhere in the world. So where do
Exactly.
you go where you get more quality of life for your exchange?
Mm-hmm. That's so true. And let's be real. Most people are living in many places so that they can show people that they've made it when they are silently struggling.
These people that they're improving to probably live less than them, but they want to impress. I don't know.
Right.
It's a sad
You're
commentary.
working hard to acquire things to impress people that don't even like you. So they also you can say or to show I made it. That's not good financial sense at all. So not good common sense, not even about financial sense. You can't live for other people and what they think about you.
Well, see, that comes back to growing up in the inner cities of Harlem and Brooklyn, New York City, right?
Mm-hmm.
You learn that you don't show, you learn from the older gentlemen, older people, that you don't show your wealth like that. Why? Because then the stick up kids is coming for you.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's either the thief or the judge. What the
This
judge
is
can't
true.
see, he can't seize, and what the thief can't see, he can't steal. Stop
Exactly.
being so open. People could be
Mm-hmm.
setting you up.
Being a target. Because
Next up,
if they see you in the X, whatever car it is, they're going to automatically assume you got it and they want it,
but they
especially in
don't,
these hard
but they
times.
don't have it, so they're gonna get it from you.
Exactly.
They may come to you friendly and want to
Yep.
extort you, but when you don't buy in the extortion, then they
Yep.
want to tear you down or look to steal from you. This happens. It's just a human element. It happens.
That's a money trauma.
That's a money trauma. Yeah.
It's a money trauma. So you have to, yeah, so that's why we always talk about wealth being private, right? We want to have private prosperity. And that's the life that we want to live and lead. Because you don't see Bezos on here online flaunting. You don't see what's the one that earns the old man?
Warren Buffett, Mr.
Buffett, I
Warren
know.
Buffett. Thank you
The
very
old
much.
man, yeah, Buffett. Yeah, I knew it started with a B. I couldn't think
The
of his
old
name.
man, the old man
The old
Buffett.
man. Because when you told me he still lives in the same house for 40 years, I'm like, really?
More than that, 60 years
Oh, see? Yeah, I was like, because I'm
in
like,
Omaha,
he not
the Oracle of
upgrading.
Omaha.
He
No,
not
he says
upgrading every
why.
year.
He says this is where he bought his house. He made billions, and he enjoys his house. He can own any house he wants. He can travel wherever he likes, but he feels comfortable there,
Yep,
and he doesn't have to improve. He doesn't have to prove anything to anybody.
exactly. So, and that, but you'll see, even I know I told you the story about Mark Zuckerberg when years ago he had a baby shower. That looked like the most bootleg baby shower him and his wife had. And I said, yo, this man is worth billions. But at the same,
Why'd you call it bootleg though? Why was it bootleg?
because it reminded me of those birthday parties like my brother and sister would have on Gates Avenue in Brooklyn, where it was you get this little paper tablecloth and you got some paper plates and things and you cut the cake and you feed the people and they go home. That's what it
Okay,
reminded me
so I have a
of.
question for you. Now we're getting into our real kind of conversation. So, would the baby ever remember that party?
No, he won't.
Oh, okay. So then why spend all that money?
He really won't. But when I saw that image and they took the picture and I'm scrolling through, I was like, this looks real like he's broke.
Well, that's a reason why he's a billionaire. We wealthy people live broke.
So, but at the same token, I was seeing people have baby showers for their daughters or their sons and their daughter-in-laws or whoever, and they had. I'm getting ready to talk. My daughter's last baby shower, she had a throne and all that too, because I had got the thrones. But let me say this, so, but
Lot of mercy.
they really did it up. We did it here at the house, at my daughter's house, but they would have like these whole event spaces. They would have these thrones and all of this hoopla going on and all of it. And this is just the baby shower. The baby's still in the womb. So this was just the baby shower. And I said, Dad, that had to cost a good like $5,000 at least.
That was an adult party. That wasn't for the baby.
It really, but it was. So I'm thinking Zuckerberg has billions, but you're going to spend
Did we lose you? I think we lost. You're on pause right now. Not sure what happened there, family. Our host will be back. My co-host will be back. Let's see what happens.
No, my battery died.
Wah,
Um,
wah.
so what's happening?
Bootleg charger.
It's not on the charger. But it's what I'm saying is that they have these big extravagant events when billionaires are just, we're gonna cut up a cake, y'all can bring some gifts, and y'all can get on out of here. That's
Truth be told, when you
yeah.
have those type of events and you're in that status, your guests that you invite, there's a certain custom size of gift that they bring. So you make money on those events. Like extravagant weddings
Right.
for wealthy individuals. You come to a wedding and to a wealthy person, your minimum cash gift is $1,000.
That's so true. That's so true.
I'm just saying, I've been to many of them. You see,
Yeah.
but in the hood, in the neighborhoods, people come to your weddings with their two hands swinging,
Yeah.
eat your food, and then talk bad about
And
it.
talk about you.
But man,
And
they could
don't.
have did better than that.
Yeah, that's it. Did you see what she had on? Oh my God. But so we
Bring your
say,
own bag.
yeah, I saw her. Bring your own gifts, bring your own food. Oh my God. But so again, that's a money trauma. For you to spend that kind of money unnecessarily, who's that for? That's not for the baby. That's for you, right? So, and you could have invested that and probably had something a whole lot better waiting for your baby later on in life. So
I say that all the time. I say it all the
these are
time.
the conversations that we're trying to have with people. We're making light of it, but it's a money trauma. That's not a good decision to make when you now have to go back to work to try and pay off that credit card you just spend all that stuff on. So it's you get the asset, get that pays for the luxuries. 99% of y'all didn't do that. I promise you.
And
Or
let's
you,
stop trauma bonding. Let's not trauma bond. Let's break those traumas
that's
and
true.
create a new paradigm for ourselves. And the only way we could do that, I believe, is through group economics, So if you really care about yourself and your community, your family, invite them, share these lives.
Yeah, share them. Again, you can always schedule a strategy session at pinkpowerceo.com. And that way we can have the conversation, see where you're at currently and where you desire to go. As Al always says, we're looking to help people create the lifestyle that they desire to have. And whatever lifestyle you want is not going to be the same as what someone else wants. So we have adult conversations to see exactly where you're looking to go and grow to. But yeah, so that's pretty much the end of this conversation. We got 2 minutes. Um, and then we have to,
I got 11, 6, 18. I don't know.
no. Well, I put it for an extra 20 minutes to give us a little bit more time.
Oh, okay.
Because remember,
Awesome.
I'm just putting it straight on YouTube right now. So all of these are going to be played on YouTube moving forward, the
All
full
right.
episodes. So yeah, this has been a wonderful conversation. And Yapa, as always, thank you so much for moderating, being our host and welcoming people that do come in. Thank you for, being there for us. We appreciate that. And yeah. What she said? Oh, what is time anyway? So yeah, we're going to go ahead and close this out. This will be available on YouTube probably in the next 90 minutes or so. Got to give it some time to update, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. It was always my pleasure.
All right, and you can click the YouTube in my bio on TikTok if you need to. So everyone have a blessed and prosperous day, and Al, as always, I thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Be well.
All right, have a blessed one. Bye bye.